What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we're back for another episode of Bushwhacked. And of course, I'm joined by WWE Hall of Famer, tag team legend, my buddy Bushwhacker Luke. Luke, what's going on, man?
Whoa, good day, mate. It's great to be on Bushwhack with you, Marcus, and I'm looking forward to a great podcast here.
Yeah, man, we've got a really fun one in store. We are looking back to 1992, the summer of 92, August of 92, as a matter of fact, to SummerSlam in Wembley Stadium. And boy, I was doing the notes. There's a bunch to talk about. Before we get into the notes, though, I did want to give you a minute to address something. Unfortunately, Luke, since the last time that you and I talked, a good buddy passed away, Dory Funk Jr. We lost him. I just want to give you a minute to go ahead and say your piece about the legendary Dory Funk.
Yeah, well, it's funny we bring up this, that. I lived next to Dory when he first met Marty.
Ah,
I lived, he was a booker in Florida Championship Wrestling. This was around 1980, 79, 80. And we were both living in Tampa on the Hillsborough River, and that he had a boat there. I always remember that. And we had good times back there. And Marty lived in Ocala, and her and a girlfriend used to come down and pick him up to drive him to towns. Now, they lived about 2 hours away, an hour and a half away, and I traveled with Dory to the towns in the back of the car with Marty and a girlfriend in the front seat. Now, that's going back some time, mate. That's
yeah.
going back 46 years, 47 years. Okay, 46, that's scary, 46 years. Unbelievable, mate. Yeah, Dory was a great guy. I love Terry too. What a team! What a team they were. And I had Dory booked many times when I was booking in Puerto Rico for Carlos Colon in the 80s. He used to come in and do a lot of matches against Carlos in
Mm.
for the WWC World Heavyweight Champion.
Man, he was a guy who was just like respected by everybody, a great trainer, a great wrestler, part of a great family. Boy, what a sad loss for professional wrestling, huh?
Yes, one of it. But then he was the last one in that family, and that's you another. That family was a benchmark in wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sure were, and I never had the pleasure of meeting Dory Funk, but gosh, felt like I knew him because I have so many relationships with guys from that generation that and the stories that you hear about him and how
Yeah,
technically sound he was in the ring, and everything he did meant something, just like a worker's worker, right?
yeah. You work with some of the guys who now the Amarillo office, which was owned by the Funks. A lot of the guys were a lot of the wrestlers of yesterday went through that territory. That was a territory that everyone sort of went to, just like Stu Hart's up in Canada. They had to go through Amarillo, and you've got someone working with you who really started there, got his big break there. Um,
DiBiase.
was the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
The $1 Million Man. He was there right at the start. There was Tony Blanchard. There was Dick Murdoch. There was Ted DiBiase. So many great names come through that era. Tito Santana. I can't. My brain's not working too good at the moment, but I could go on and on with names that
Oh
came
yeah.
through that territory.
Man, some all-time greats were influenced by the Funks and had relationships with them. And yeah, to your point, Ted DiBiase would not be Ted DiBiase as we know him today if not for the Funk family. They really got him his start in professional wrestling. So, man, absolutely crazy lineage and history for Dory Funk Jr. So, God bless Dory Funk. What a loss to the wrestling world.
Yeah.
Well,
Now we're going back to 34 years for that show in England. I wonder if my brain can come up with stuff from that.
well, that's why
It's,
I've got the notes, brother. I'll handle all of it. And you know what? We're actually going to start right here. In the June 1st edition of The Observer in 1992, it's announced that SummerSlam has been moved from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, to Wembley Stadium. Meltzer would point out that if the show were to sell out, which was expected, it would be about 85,000 fans in the second largest documented live crowd of all time for a wrestling event. So, Luke, when you hear that SummerSlam is set to be held in England, what did you think of the big change and the possibilities?
Oh, hey, we all look forward to it, mate, to working in one of the biggest, well-known stadiums in the world. Wembley Stadium was like MSG, Madison Square Garden. It was well known for Europe, for European talent and UK talent. That was the place to perform in.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It really is like the Madison Square Garden, which is like the Mecca in New York City, and now here you're gonna be in London, Wembley, and this massive outdoor stadium with the potential of over 80,000 fans there watching you live. I mean, just
Yeah.
would that have been the biggest crowd that you had ever worked in front of?
Yes, it was, and the story behind that was the last show in that Wembley Stadium, and that they pulled it down and they built a new one, which is smaller but more boxes, more. As usual, they wanted to make more money,
Of
so they
course.
put more personal boxes around there for for companies.
Yep. Yep, they wanted to sell those luxury suites, right?
Yeah, those luxury suites. So that was the last show ever in Wembley Stadium.
Wow, and you got to be part of it. Really cool.
Yeah.
And man, in the WWF in general, there's just a lot of stuff going on during this period. I'm going to talk a little bit about what was happening behind the scenes. Luke, there's a big debut at this time, and it comes in the form of Scott Hall, who's going to debut as Razor Ramon. Scott's success, of course, speaks for itself, and this Razor Ramon character is going to go on to be iconic during this period. Would this have been your first time meeting Scott Hall?
Ah, maybe yes. I know of him from many places, and I never went to Kansas City, and I never went to AWA. The only reason why, because of the money. We weren't offered a decent, and he was in those both places. You
Yep.
know, That's where he more or less started. Kansas City. He got known, and then he went to Vern Gagne.
Yeah, and I know that he spent a little bit of time in Florida, but I don't think that it was at the same time that you were down there. So, but yeah, this
No.
probably would have been the first time that you guys crossed paths. And
Yes.
I mean, when you see him, this guy's whatever, like 6'7", jacked, great look, handsome guy. Do you see him and say like, "Oh boy, that could be like the next guy," or what did you think of him?
Yeah. No. He was a good worker, but he didn't have that. There was something he lacked.
Mm,
He'd been working in those territories I just told you about, but he had to be tuned. He had to be fine tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
okay, just need a little extra polish.
Yeah. Little umph.
Okay.
And he
Uh,
certainly got it because he was put with one of the great workers that I'd known since he was 18, Shawn Michaels. I remember Shawn when I first worked against him in San Antonio way back in 83, 84. And Shawn became a very polished worker, from 83 to 92. And Razor was lucky to be put against them.
Yeah, really helped to bring Scott along quickly to be in the ring with Shawn Michaels every night, huh?
Yeah, that polished him. And of course, the big thing that broke the ice was the ladder match.
Yes, WrestleMania 10, a huge, huge event, and probably still considered one of the greatest ladder matches, if not the greatest of all time.
Yes, and that put Scott Hall's name on the top of the marquee.
His gimmick is an interesting one, Luke, because it's inspired by Scarface, and it's kind of implied that he's a coke dealer. His name is Razor Ramon. Of course, you chop up cocaine with a razor, and he's ripping off Scarface pretty clearly. What do you think of the gimmick?
No, I loved it. I loved it.
Well, another debut from this period is Nails, which is Kevin Washels in a prisoner gimmick. Luke, he would not last very long in the WWF. As we all know, he would physically attack Vince McMahon over a payoff. What do you
Yeah,
recall about this incident?
uh, wild. Now, hey, Nails was a no shit guy. You know, you liked him or you didn't, and he wouldn't bring you into his favorite team if he didn't like you. It took time to get to know him. You know what I mean? He was with all the boys from Minnesota. Well, he had a lot of guys from there. Minnesota was starting to happen heavy in WWE in the early '90s.
Yeah, it felt like everybody from that period, or like every other person, was went to that same high school, that Robbinsdale, Minnesota high
That's it,
school.
Robbinsdale.
Yeah.
Rick Rude was one of the first.
Yep, and Barry Darsow, he went there, and Kurt Hennig, of course. So it's a whole Minnesota crew there
Yes,
in the WWF at this time. And yeah, it's an interesting gimmick because this guy's wearing an orange jumpsuit to the ring, and the perception is that he's like this wild-eyed convict. And here he actually is kind of wild-eyed. You got to be a little bit crazy to strangle the chairman of the company.
yeah, you certainly am, mate. You know, he was one of those guys who would go out of the country and pick up people. You know that he was a hired, what would be the word there?
Bounty hunter.
A hired bounty hunter, yes. And you got to be tough to do that. And he used to go into Mexico and other places in the Latin era, mid Americas and all that, Central America, to find people. So you got to be a tough son of a bitch to do that. And Nails was that tough son of a bitch.
Imagine that motherfucker showing up at your door with his crazy eyes. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
terrifying.
Yeah, and the way he talked was pretty rough.
Well, former WWF champion Bob Backlund is going to make his return to the company during this time, which is interesting because at this time Bob is 42 years old, and the WWF is just getting ready to start their transition into a focus on new and younger talents. Luke, what do you remember about Bob Backlund?
I love Bob. He had a completely different gimmick than he had before. He came in as a heel.
Yeah.
And he was a wrestling heel, but he adapted to being a straight amateur guy and doing what he did before for the WWF. This was a big change. But he
Mhm.
adapted, believe it or not, Bob adapted it.
Yeah, I mean, he would end up getting another world title run in 1994, and he seemed crazy. He seemed like a unhinged character.
Yes, he was. Boy. And when he And when we did these fan appreciation things, he would put his hold on the fan and to get photos. You know, you sign a pic and get a photo with you. He would he would put his hold on the fan, and it wasn't fucking loose, mate. The guys some of the guys were tapping out.
He was stretching the fans. Why not?
Yes. He let him know that his finish hole was for real.
I mean, not a bad idea by Bob. Make sure everybody knows that it's a shoot when you lock it in. Um, well, Luke, there's is something else pretty interesting going on. It's a difficult time for the WWF during this period due to the national exposure of the Ring Boy scandal. As a reminder, in the late 80s and early 90s, several young WWF ring crew members accused employee Mel Phillips of sexual misconduct and abuse, while Terry Garvin and Pat Patterson faced separate allegations. Tom Cole became the most prominent accuser, and questions emerged about what the WWF management knew and how they handled the concerns about Phillips. Luke, the Ring Boy scandal, it was a really big deal here in mid
Well, yes, it
1992.
was. It was a really big deal. And through that situation, we had USA Network, plus we had about 150 stations, NBC, ABC, CBS, through the country running our show. So people would see it on their local network, plus they could watch it on cable network. So it was very good at the time. But when this situation happened, Vince lost most of those most of the stations, NBC, ABC, CBS. We were lucky to have USA Network stay with us.
Man, absolutely crazy for something like this to be happening, especially because this is also the time when the George Zahorian steroid situation is starting to kind of really come up.
That all came up together, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So it's
steroid situation and the ring boy. Yeah, it was a double whammy for Vince.
not good, not good. And do you remember this character? This who is it? What's his name? Mel Phillips.
Yeah, of course I do. Mel Phillips, a ring announcer, every night. He announced he announced that he had his fantasy was kids' feet,
Yes.
boys' feet, young guys' feet, and the ring crew plus merchandise crew were all young boys. Well, I mean, young, 15, 16,
Oh no.
17, yeah, 17. And that's how the situation come. At that time, kids couldn't go out of the state they lived in. You know what I mean? At that age. Now there's something to do with work out of the state when you're that age. I can't remember what it was, but that was one of the heavy situations in that.
So it would be different boys in every state that were coming in and helping out.
Yeah, oh no, they took the ring crew with them, a lot of the ring crew with them, and
Oh,
that, you know what I mean. So they were going out of the state, Connecticut or wherever they were from, wherever they were from, because they were moving around the country.
so they were traveling illegally then.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And you know how the boys looked up at young guys looked up at the superstars. They were really heavy fans idolizing the boys.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like this Mel Phillips guy took advantage of their passion for the business.
Yes,
Oh
very
man,
much so. Yeah, funny part is he was fired and then rehired.
was he just long enough to get the heat off the WWF for a little bit, huh? Well, Luke, I did also want to point out that among all this, former WWF wrestler Paul Roma is going to come forward with this report. Former WWF wrestler Paul Roma was interviewed in John Clark's Wrestling Flyer newsletter. Roma openly talked about sexual harassment in the dressing room, saying Jim Powers had told him a sexual advancement was his reason for quitting, and said he and Powers were originally put together to keep Powers' mouth shut. When Clark asked Roma if he was ever approached in a sexual manner, he talked about an incident happening in the home of one of the higher ups and said it only happened once and he turned it down. It was never brought up again. Roma claimed that he and Hercules would have become tag team champions if he had accepted this sexual advancement. Holy shit, Luke. There's a lot of shady stuff going on behind the scenes, huh?
Yes, yeah, a lot of shady stuff with the WWE in office employees.
Yes. Yes. Do you remember hearing about this stuff at the time and thinking like,
Yeah, of course. I was right there in the middle of it.
man,
And then the boy, it was going around. In the end, the boys just accepted it. They didn't even take notice of it. But it was going at the start. It was a big wake up. What the
yeah.
hell's going on? And it
Uh,
wasn't good for the company. The houses dropped quite a bit. When I mean the houses dropped, the fans at wrestling shows weren't coming like they were before.
mhm.
That slowed down the company quite a bit. And Vince losing all those channels and just stuck with USA Network, that was a big hardship.
Boy, tough time in the business, and you can see why the business started to slide here gradually. It probably started around this time, and then by the time it was like the new generation era in the WWF, business was way, way down.
Yeah, Marcus, that's when we started doing Europe more. We'd go over to England instead of just doing about 3 shows in England and a couple in Europe. All of a sudden, we go over to England or UK and do maybe 8 shows there. All over Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and of course UK. We'd do the whole lot, and then we'd go to Europe and I remember one trip went to Germany, and we did about 8 towns in Germany. You know, which we weren't doing before. We're just going in and doing a couple of towns. Now, this was going on now. This was happening at this period of time
Yeah.
when the states were having a problem. All of a sudden, Europe became the hotbed for WWE, WWF.
Which does kind of explain the change from Landover, Maryland to Wembley Stadium, where Vince is like, all right, well, we're not drawing well, or maybe ticket pre-sale wasn't good. And he said, you know what, we're going to take it over to London instead, where, it's going to draw like 80,000 fans.
Yes, boy, that was a big move for Vince, but it paid off. It was one hell of a show.
It was, and it is coming up here soon. Before we get into that topic, I did want to hit a couple other notes from the time. Sadly, the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers is going to pass away during this period after suffering 2 strokes. Luke, I know that Buddy was from the generation prior to your involvement. Did you ever get to spend much time around him?
No, I never did. When I came to, he was still alive when I came over this side of the world. But the first 6 or 8 years, we worked mainly in Canada. Come over the border, for a couple of companies in Canada and worked. But it wasn't in the 70s. We didn't actually work. We weren't working permanently for a promotion in the States.
Okay.
We were trying to, but a situation happened with Butch that the booker in Atlanta wouldn't bring us in because his girlfriend came up to work for Stu Hart, and Butch had an affair with her, which he found out. Tarzan Tyler was trying to get us booked in Atlanta.
Oh,
He said
no.
he said our gimmick would go over big. Tarzan Tyler was a big Frenchman who was a big star, traveled the world. Unfortunately, he was killed in one of the notorious not murders, road accidents in Canada with some other guys where they went off the road in the island Newfoundland, and they got killed. Now, yes, he was in Montreal for Grand Prix when we were there. That was the biggest company in North America at the time. In the early 70s and Andre came in 71, came to his first time in North America. He came to Montreal being a Frenchman, and he blew the place wide open. They were running one show a night when he first came there. All of a sudden, they're running 3 shows a night. There's 3 television stations. He's on one. One of them was a talk show, and he was on the other 2. And this was in Quebec and Ontario. And he blew the place wide open.
Wow. Okay.
At that time, Rougeau's was running opposition, so there was 4 towns a night getting worked in that area.
That's crazy. So
Yeah,
it was like a hotbed.
and that was a hectic period there, and we were lucky to be amongst that.
Good
And
spot for you to be
that's
in.
when Buddy, you're talking about the blonde bomber. What
Buddy Rogers.
Buddy Rogers was around, but I never got to meet him in the 70s and that. And we actually emerged into the States in the late 70s, and that, what year did he pass?
It would have been 92, but I think he had been out of the business for a very long time.
Yeah, because when we started getting around the States in the late 70s and 80s, he was no longer on the road.
Right. So yeah, you wouldn't have crossed paths
But
with him.
he was a big name, a big name. Even in New Zealand, we didn't have wrestling on television or anything like that, but he was known worldwide. Buddy Rogers. and I think I heard he drew he drew one of the biggest shows in the 60s against the Kiwi, Pat Pat O'Connor. He was a world champion, and I think Buddy Rogers, Pat O'Connor took the belt off Rogers, or Rogers took the belt off Pat O'Connor. They said they had a 45,000 people fan house in Chicago around that time. Now I'm not good on all the past and that, but I read about that.
I know that story, and yes, you're absolutely right. It was like the biggest house in North America ever at that time. Was
It
Pat
was
O'Connor, and
Pat O'Connor and Buddy Rogers, right?
yes, yes. Wow, very good. You're like a wrestling historian, Luke.
No, I don't. I'm not. The only reason why Pat come back to New Zealand in the 70s, no 60s, and I worked on the cards with him in New Zealand.
Okay, so he told you the story of this huge house.
No, he never told us that. He never told. Pat was into himself. He's from Wanganui, New Zealand,
Hmm.
and we're in Wellington, which is 100 miles away. One of the guys who went to school with him drove down to meet him and talk to him and that, and Pat ignored him. This guy went to school with him and hung out for about 15 years with him.
And Pat ignored him.
He ignored him. And
Wow.
that's how Pat Pat was the ex-American, NWA champion or former or future champion, and then I think he was younger then, and he was a little up himself.
He was big time
That
in
that
everybody.
fucking Kiwi.
Those damn Kiwis.
Uh,
They're all the
funny
same.
part, Abe Jacobs came over around the same time or a bit later than Pat, and he was a completely different guy. He was loved by everybody.
Yeah, I think Pat probably had all that start and maybe got to his head a little bit, huh?
Yeah,
Well, Luke, let's talk a little bit about what you were up to in the lead up to SummerSlam. According to my research, you didn't have any matches in the entire month of May 1992, and only 12 total matches in June and July, six in each month. I talked to Jim Duggan about this same subject, and his schedule was reduced around this time as well. And he said it was probably due to promotional work for WWE. Do you think that would have been the same case for you during this period, doing some promotional stuff?
yeah, yes. We were for quite a time, off and on. Vince would send us over to Europe to to do pre-promotion for the tours.
Okay.
Anywhere that he was going, he'd send us, I guess, to Duggan. We were standout people, you know what I mean? Duggan with a hole in the A and the 4x2, and us, the marching, as Jesse Ventura say, here comes the marching morons. People remember two guys from down under marching around, and of course, a little head licking.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you guys were big personalities, so it makes sense that Vince would
Yeah,
want you to
so
go
we
out.
were we were sent overseas. I remember sometimes we were away for 3 weeks on promotional tours.
Hey, 3 weeks of no taking bumps, not too bad.
No, still getting paid.
Yeah, not a bad deal. Free hotels and food. All right, good gig, Luke.
Funny part is though, Marcus, we went to some countries that the tours never got to. These that they were booked in tours and then they were cancelled. I guess because of pre-booking. You know what I
Ah,
mean?
yeah,
Otherwise, me and Butch didn't get over this too much. We're on national TV on all these countries and did newspapers.
well, I'm sure that the fans were happy to have you guys and Hacksaw touring the country and doing promotional work.
Yes,
Pretty cool spot to be in.
yeah.
Well,
Anyhow, this getting back to Wembley, we haven't got there yet.
oh, we're almost there. Got a couple more things to bring up, and then we're
Hey, must
we're
be
at the main
we
event.
we mustn't have a motor on the boat. We're paddling. to
We're
get there.
we're paddling to get
We're
there.
paddling slowly to get to it.
I want to save it for the end, just like a wrestling match. You end it with a high spot. Um,
Yeah,
well, in July, the Samoans, Samu and Fatu, are going to make their debut at the company, and you and Butch are the two that will have their first match. Luke, any recollection of working with the Head Shrinkers, the Samoans,
mate.
Samu and Fatu?
We work with them for a start. I tell you, love those guys. I still talk to Sammy. You know Sammy.
Hmm.
We're like brothers. And of course Rikishi Fatu. He was a big kid, not as big as he is now, but we work with them everywhere. And boy, I shouldn't say that, but that was a night off. These two guys were magic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Magic. They could take all kinds of bumps, and they the family they were from Alpha and Seeker, who I'd met in the 70s in Pensacola. Alpha and Seeker. I think that's where they ended up too, because I went to their funerals. You know, I meant to Seeker's funeral, but I got COVID, I think, at the time when Arthur died. But I knew Arthur better than than Seeker. But I went to his funeral in Pensacola. Yeah, they were good friends of mine, those two guys, the dads.
Yep. And now the Suns are in here, and it's you can see the bloodline kind of coming
Oh
together in the
boy,
early
we're,
stages.
we're up to the third, going into the fourth generation.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
fucking
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy.
And all of them very, very good workers, great connection with the audience. So, man, you talk about a lineage; those guys have got it.
Yeah, and now I love Jacob.
Oh yeah,
What a
Jacob
beautiful
Fatu.
guy he was. You know, he learned his lesson from the jail term, and
Hmm.
he turned out to be a beautiful guy and a hard bloody worker.
I really like Jacob Fatu. Just a complete gentleman. Every time I've been around him, he's very, very kind and welcoming. And yeah, I see him having success on TV, and it makes me
Yeah.
happy because he's just a good
I was
person.
upset when he went. I was following the family feud, because I thought, when he came in, it would fire it up again. But then when he kneeled down and honored the chief, I
Hmm.
was very disappointed. I thought they could get a whole new storyline with him, but they're going back to it now. I see that they're working towards that now. When he bowed down and
After Roman beat him.
yes,
Yep.
that I was real pissed off for that. I saw more. Being a booker myself for 14 years, I saw all the opportunities they could have done going elsewhere. But now they come back to it. I think they might get it back on the road again. You know what I mean?
I hope so. I hope so because it was a great storyline. And you want to talk
Yeah,
about
and him and that big thing. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for Roman to beat him. They did that too soon. But that's life. They had nothing. They had nothing at that time, so that's why they threw Roman against them.
that's it too.
They
I think
built
it
him
was
up. They built him up so strong before that.
I think it was just what was necessary, but I like what Jacob Fatu's future is, man. The guy's good and great personality. I think he's a future world champion for sure.
Yes, and now Solo they got over, and he's a baby face now. And that, but I think these two might join up and have a new fraction.
I'm thinking so. I'm
A
thinking
new
so.
faction. Yeah, they could have a new faction. And of course, you got the kid coming in, Zilla.
Zilla,
What
yep.
what a good worker he is, mate. I've been some independent shows with him, and I watched him, because I know the family well.
Hmm.
And you know, he's this kid is great too,
Hell of a
and
worker.
he's a big kid. He's a big kid.
And you could see him possibly being paired up with Jacob Fatu. So,
Yes.
man, it's gonna things are gonna get very, very interesting in the WWF here coming
Yeah,
soon.
they're going to get back to that story. They lost it. You know,
Yep.
they it peaked. It was the hottest thing for about a year.
Hmm.
Really heavy. When he had everyone pointing at the roof, Roman had everyone, the Usos and all that. Then they broke it up and went all different ways. But now they're getting it back together.
I'm glad to
Pardon
see
me.
it. I'm glad to see it getting back on track because, yeah, to your point, it was the hottest storyline in decades,
Yeah,
really.
well, they haven't got. When you look around, what else have they got going?
Uh, Not a ton. I mean, Cody Rhodes is great. He's like the X factor there in the
Yeah, he's
WWE. But
great and that, but what's he feuding? Who's he feuding with?
oh gosh, who is it now? Randy?
Well, now there's a great worker.
Yes,
Randy is, I would say, one of the best workers in the company.
I would say so. Yeah, and even at
Yeah,
his age, he's like
all
45.
round, all round psychology. Sad that his body's getting a bit worn. He's been in that seat now only for 25 years,
Yep,
20 years.
he's been going hard for a long time and still one of the best.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he's out with a lot of injuries. Well, quite a few injuries. And that, of course, that's caused by constant pounding for 25, 20 years in the top spot or around the top spot.
Yep. Yep, and he's still, he made the towns for a lot of those years, so he was working like the kind of the old school schedule where it was 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, twice on
Yes,
Sunday.
well, just like we were working.
Yep,
He came in that era when
yep.
you were working that. We worked 7 days a week, sometimes twice on Saturday and twice on Sunday.
It's a lot on your body. That's a lot. So
Yes.
incredible he's still going at such a high level. Um, Luke, in August, your schedule is coming closer to being back to normal, and you have some pretty interesting matches during that period. You're going to work a tag team and singles matches with Barry Darso, who had by this time switched from Smash of Demolition to now the Repo Man. Luke, the Repo Man character, what'd you think?
I liked it, mate. I liked it. First, I thought, what a shitty fucking character. But Barry made it work.
Yep.
I'm with Barry on the road quite a bit. Barry and Bill, they're two of my best buddies, on the road. Good, straight guys. I've known Bill since the 70s. I worked with him and his partner Paul when he was a mass superstar in NWA, out of Charlotte in the 79, 80.
Both total gentlemen, such sweet, personalities that both these guys have. Just fun to
And
be
I'm
around.
glad, and I'm glad they finally got in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, finally. Very well
You know,
deserved.
there's a situation with Bill with Vince for many years, and that way Bill was not accepted under the brand, but now they are.
Man, I'm glad to see him back. And yeah, a lot of people, a lot of fans didn't like the Repo Man character, and they'll say, this was too silly. Like he was out there with the hook
Yeah,
and the mask on and stuff. But I mean, really, this is not for adult men. At the time, the audience was mostly children, and this is a big, personality, a big character that they're introducing on TV. I thought it worked.
yeah, that sneaky bastard sneaking around. Here's a big guy, 320 pounds, sneaking around.
You couldn't really tell that it was Smash of Demolition either. I think that the little mask he had over his eyes
Yeah,
helped. Yeah, so it was to the fans,
yeah,
it was
but
a
the
whole new thing.
size, the body size, sort of give it away.
He can't hide that size.
No.
Well, finally, let's get to SummerSlam. It takes place in front of 79,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. Looked back on very fondly, of course. And Luke, yourself, Butch, and Jim are going to open things up in a dark match
No.
against the
Yeah,
Rowdy and
now.
Nasty Boys.
This stadium, you heard how big it is,
Yep.
takes time to fill. Maybe 3 hours. People are sitting there for three. Some of them, when they first went in, are sitting there for 3 hours, and people are coming in all the time. 2 hours, 1 hour, half an hour, and that. So people were waiting for that first match. They
Hmm.
were begging. They were just begging for something to happen. and we were tagged up with Jim Duggan. Here, so let's go with the story. We march out. The Nasty Boys and the Mountie are our opponents.
Yep.
They're in the ring. We march out to the ring. Now, from the dressing room to the ring, you know, that's a effing long walk.
Yep.
And Duggan's doing a ho, I'm doing a whoa, and Butcher's doing the yay.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the ring. We climb up, we march around it a few times and get into the ring. We march to one rope, go put our heads under the top rope, and Duggan does this ho, I do the whoa, Butch does the yay. We do that to that side. We go to the next side or go across the other side. Do it there. Do it this side. 4 sides. People, it was like in a soccer game. You know, when they hear the European soccer games or the British soccer games, everybody's singing in the audience.
Yep.
Well, that's how it was, mate. We did this for 9 minutes. 9 bloody minutes, because we got told by the agents when we got back, you know, that they had to say, they said, fuck, why'd you start a match? But then they smiled and they said, you had the crowd in your hand. And then we locked up. We locked up after 9 minutes, and every move we did, it the roof blew off. You know what I mean? We
Man.
did a couple of spots, and we did a couple of single spots, double spots, and then we did a 3-way spot. We dug in, I think it was a 3-way clothesline.
Yes.
And the people fucking came off the rafters for that. I can't remember how we went into it, but in the end, the 3 of us were all linked up together, and we wiped the 3 out, and they all took bumps out of the ring. Boy, and then we got the heat, a little heat, and then went home. But that match, it was what could I say? The noise in the building was insane, insane. I think we only did about 5 minutes, you know, all told, maybe 16 minutes.
So between the whoa, the yay, and the ho, and then the
And the
match.
rest of the match, yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember we did about 3 spots before the heat,
Yep.
and and then the heat, and then went home, and the people come off the roof. It was insane, and that was the first match in Wembley. Now, you know the main event. I'm jumping forward, but I'm going to stop in the middle.
Yeah.
But I'm going to jump forward to the last. The crowd was there to see the brother-in-law The brother-in-laws work against each other.
Yes.
Davy Boy against Brett. Now, Brett was always the baby face in Canada, and Davy Boy was too. But in this town, Davy Boy was complete baby face,
Mm-hmm.
and Brett got some booze. Yeah, I think Brett, both of them experienced. Brett more experienced, but I think Brett changed. He saw how it was, just like Hogan like Hogan and The Rock when they did that match in Toronto. You
Yes.
know, they both went in as baby faces. Then they saw the way the people were reacting, and The Rock took the heel side. And I think Brett did it. If I remember, do you remember Brett did a little heel stuff?
Yeah, I think that Brett worked it as a heel. He saw how the audience was reacting, and he knew the right way to get
Yes.
the reaction
And
from them.
that match got one hell of a pop, man. Anyhow, before that, the road, I don't know what match it was, but the Road Warriors were a match.
Yes. That they were the first match on the card, but on the main card. So you guys were a dark match. Road Warriors and Money Inc. were the first match on the main card, but they weren't supposed to be. Did you know that?
They were supposed to be what?
Well, I can't remember what position they were supposed to be in, but they were not supposed to be the opening match on the main show.
And they were.
They had to be because Hawk was having some problems.
Hawk, Hawk driver, God bless him. Mike came down for a holiday on Clearwater Beach, Florida, next to me, and enjoyed it so much that he went north to Minnesota, sold up, and got a condo down the road from me on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So, I knew Mike very well. God bless him, but unfortunately, right before the show, Mike took a handful of muscle relaxers.
Oh
a
my
whole
goodness.
a whole handful. When I was booking in Puerto Rico, I went through this too, where I had to throw him in the shower before his match, and bring him to go out for his match.
Oh man.
Anyhow, these guys are going out on motorbikes to the match.
Well, Mike is under the influence.
Well, Mike is under the influence, but he could handle so much. Anyhow, I think they showered him and got him sort of coffee, loaded him up with coffee, and got him to the ring. But
Now,
that was insane watching him and Joe go to the ring. It's like all the people looking down. Two big Harleys. They got them. They got the Harleys from the what's the number one bike club in the world? You know the
oh,
bad
Hell's
guys,
Angels.
the Hell's Angels. They got the bikes off Hell's Angels, and they went to the ring on these bikes, and then went in the ring. And you tell us about the match, mate.
Well, it's funny because I've talked to Ted DiBiase about this match, and Ted was pissed off because again he was not supposed to be the quote unquote curtain jerker of the show. It was supposed to be later on, and they were kind of supposed to build to it. But here, apparently, it was Joe, Mike's own tag team partner, that went to WWE officials and said he's in no condition to wrestle, and he's going to get worse if we wait. So that's why they said, okay, well, we better open up the show with it before he's completely out of it. But yeah, so it apparently the match came off okay though, because Ted is, he's a pro, and so is
Yes,
IRS.
and his partner, and
Yeah.
his partner's a real pro too. Mike, God bless him. And yeah, they carry. I can't remember the match, mate, but they got through it. I know that.
Yep.
Now, after that, we never saw Hawk for 2 weeks, a week and a half. We're on the road for so many days over in Europe and England and UK, and Hawk goes AWOL. We never see him. And then he rides back. We go back to the States and that. And then I think it was about a week later, fucking Hawk shows up. He got with the Hells Angels for a week and went wild partying.
I mean, absolutely crazy. And apparently, not only did Hawk end up losing his job over this situation, but so did Joe. And Joe didn't have anything to do with it, but that was the end of the first run for the Legion of Doom.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that
unfair to Joe.
no, it wasn't fair to Joe. And of course Hawk was at home, so I saw him more often on the beach. He was at my place. Then
Man,
he got rehired, and I remember the big Titantron, and that. Remember that episode with the Titantron, him
yeah,
climbing up,
he got
all
like thrown off.
and all he was all fucked up, and then that's when they let him go, and they kept Joe there for a while, and they let him off. He was still on the fucking payroll for nearly a year.
Man, what a shame because you look at the Legion of Doom and they had like the spiky shoulder pads and the kids loved them and they were a big act during that period. Boy, a lot of money left on the table as a result of this.
Yes, yeah, the kids loved them because it was one hell of a gimmick. It was hey, they jumped on it after that first movie with the Australian
Oh,
that's Road Warrior.
yeah, yep, with Mel Gibson.
Yes,
Yes. Gosh, what a shame. It's sad to see that things fell apart like that for Mike.
yeah,
But we covered everything. You very very thorough job here on your part. You hit all the notes that I had, whether it was Hawk or Bret Hart or what was going on with you.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a
man,
great show, mate. That goes when people ask me the two highlights of my life or the best match of my life. I said I can't tell you. I had so many good matches outside of WWE. You know, with Roddy Piper and Rick Martel. That run went for 13 months or 14 months
wow,
from, you know, Northwest Championship Wrestling. You know, we worked with them for that long in one stretch. And, you know, I had other runs with the Fantastics, runs with the Fabulous Ones, with Zambui Express, Dick Murdoch and Manny Fernandez. In Texas, we've got a Mexican and a redneck against Butch and me. What a run we had there. You know, so I could talk about that, but two matches that stand out. That one in Wembley, and the other one was in Madison Square Gardens in the 80s when we were in a battle royal and Holt was the last person to come to the ring.
yes.
The fucking noise in that Madison Square Garden was insane. Butch could put his mouth in my ear and talk to me, and I couldn't understand him. The noise, the hair stood up on my arms when Hulk
Man,
came out. That's when Hulkamania was running wild. Of course, too, WrestleMania. It was in that WrestleMania was formed in '85, and I'm talking about '88 or '89. The Smash was.
you got to be part of some really special moments, and man, being in Wembley and being coming out in front of 79,000 people, it's got to be like no other feeling. And that's going to be my final question of the podcast. Luke, you said before that this was the biggest crowd that you had ever worked in front of. Most of us are never going to know what this feeling is like, so we'll ask you about it. What is it like walking out there and having 79,000 fans cheering for you?
Looking down at six guys in the ring.
Yep.
It's insane, mate. Insane. And I think of it now. I'd love to do it now. Just march out today and do it. Yep. And I'm still marching out to the ring 4 months off 80. Last week I worked in Wildwood,
Yes.
New Jersey. That's South New Jersey on the water, and I walked out to the people there, and worked in the ring just one or two spots, and the crowd. The noise I got from that was insane.
Man, it's so cool that you're still out there doing it. I love that you're out there doing it. And folks, if you want to book Luke, boy, you can make it pretty easy. Follow him on social media. That's where you're going to find all the information. If you want to bring Luke to your event or bring him on your podcast or whatever it is, if you want to book him in a match, go there. If you do want to get Luke, and you can't, if you just want to talk to him and you don't have the opportunity to meet him in person, right above me, there's a QR code for Cameo. Get a cameo from Bushwhacker Luke. Whether it's a birthday or you want to quit your job or break up with your girlfriend, or if you just want a promo, Luke has got you covered. Over there
Yeah,
above, go ahead.
yeah. Thank you, and of course too, guys. I'm into workout supplements. The
Yes.
name of the company is Ironheads, Bad Habits, and we have great pre-workout products. I would say everyone we've tried on it, they love it. The pump, I got Bushwhacker Supreme Pump, and the other one is Skin Splitter. The Supreme Pump pumps those muscles up with nitric oxide. They've got a guy right here with me now that knows what that pump's like. And plus, there's the to be alert and to have your mind focused. Skin Splitter, Skin Splitter puts you on that line. It gives you that energy and keeps you really focused. If you are a workout person, you can be focused on that muscle, and you've got the Bushwhacker Supreme Pump in there. Boy, when you finish your workout, your skin is so tight, and the gentleman here will tell you about it.
Yep. As many of you know, I'm a professional wrestler and I'm an active. I try to make a town at least every week, and I've done some stuff on TV as well. So I need to have my body in great shape. So I've become a gym fanatic, and I've tried a lot of supplements. I've never had supplements as great as I get from Ironhead Subs. Specifically, this pre-workout, the Bushwhacker Pump and the Skin Splitter. It's a stack. I put them together, drink it about 30 minutes before I work out. The best pumps of my life. I'm more aggressive in the gym. I'm working out harder. I've got the energy to go harder. And seriously, I can't speak highly enough about these products. I want you to just at least go and check out the website. It's Ironheads with a Z, ironheadsups.com. Let me say that one more time. Ironheads with a Z, sups, supps.com. Get over there and check out not only those products, they've got great protein powder. They've got great amino acids and essential acids.
BCAAs, yes.
Yes, BCAAs. Tons and tons of other stuff. So seriously, get over there, check it out. Not to mention, they've got cool merchandise. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now, the Ironhead Sup shirt. I cannot speak highly enough about these guys. It's a great product. I fully endorse them. And I'd be saying that if we weren't working with them, if we weren't friends with them. This is my favorite supplement company I've ever worked with. So go out of your way to check them out. One more time, Ironheads with a Z, sups.com. Just at least go look at the website.
I appreciate that, Marcus. You really put it over. And I'm proud to say I'm involved in this company. Even though I'm nearly 80, this is what's keeping me going. Their supplements and that. Got a wide range of them. Plus, we've got peptides and SARMs.
That's right.
Peptides and SARMs. They're at a great price. A great price. We beat everyone else on the market for that sort of stuff.
That's right.
So go ahead and check out Ironhead, IRONHEADZ, sups.com.
Go and check them out. I promise you, if you are a gym rat like myself, or if you want to become a gym rat, if you aspire to get into better shape, that's the number one stop you got to make. Ironheadsups.com. One last thing before we go, there's a QR code up there above Luke's head as well. Scan that one. That'll take you to his Pro Wrestling Tees shop so you can rep Bushwhacker Luke. Wear some of his cool merchandise over there. He's got some really neat looking shirts. There's 3 options if you want to get in touch with Bushwhacker Luke or just rep his stuff, or if you want to get better in the gym, go and take advantage of all of it. And I want to thank all of you for joining us. And Luke, I want to thank you for joining us to tell us the story.
I've got one more thing to say, mate.
Yeah.
You want to get contact with me too? I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's Bushwhacker Luke, and my head is on the planet, the world circle with my head in the middle.
Yep, you can't miss it. It's at Bushwhacker Luke at all platforms. So that's Facebook, Instagram, and X or Twitter if you prefer. It's at Bushwhacker Luke. So get over there, give him a follow. Luke is posting every day some great stuff, and it's a great way to keep up with what he's doing. So maybe Luke is coming to a town near you. Make sure you go and check it out. One more time, it's at Bushwhacker Luke. As a matter of fact, it's right there underneath his name right now. So there's the.
Thank you very much.
Handle.
Thank you very much, Marcus, and it's been great being on your show tonight. And all the fans out there who listen, thank you for listening, and be ready for the next podcast.
We'll catch you guys next time right here on Bushwhacked.